Hello everyone, my name is KWA, and today I will be doing a review on a new rifle from KWA, the Ronin T10. Let us begin. Okay guys, so we have the T10 right here. What a view, what a beauty. So I'm going to start off with mainly the external parts that the T10 comes with, and then I'll go into the internals and as much as I could, gather information. So first of all, we're going to start off with the front. So it does come with an anodized muzzle brake. Now, aesthetically wise, it looks a lot better. It looks a lot better than having to carry, a muzzle brake that's made out of plastic. So when it comes to the muzzle brake, that's nice. I would rather change the color to something else, but that is just me. It also comes with a M-lock style handguard. And now with the M-lock, at least you can customize it to your liking, means of the parts and everything. So that's a good plus on them. And it does not look bad at all on the rifle itself. So that's good for them. It does come with a small Picatinny rail on the bottom front part of it, as well as KWA does offer two parts, two Picatinny rails that you can add anywhere on there with a little Allen key that you can use. But with that, if we move on forward, the T10 is and does come with an ambidextrous safety lever, as well as a charging handle that is ambidextrous. So that just means that you can either use your finger or your thumb if you're righty, or you can use your left hand without any issues whatsoever. So you'll be able to do that well with it. Now the actual KWA, you still do have to charge the charging handle and then press on the bolt release in order to hold it back. And then if you want to release it back forward, and then we'll go over a little bit in means of the internals and what changed on it. So with that, the final parts for the T10 are all come from the same company. It's the polymer sights, PTS polymer sights, as well as the PTS pistol grip and the PTS PDW style buttstock as well. I like the buttstock because it does and can house a much M4 style or butterfly style battery in it. Now those are the external parts. It also comes with the MS-120 magazine that holds 120 BBs. It still has the guide rod in it for the stopping system that KWA had in their rifles, and I say had because they removed it recently due to the fact that people were putting in a lot of complaints and service requests stating that their rifle wasn't shooting appropriately. And unfortunately, it wasn't that it wasn't shooting appropriately. It was the fact that when people were using the actual KWA magazines with the actual guiding rod in it, or the stopping, that little piece of plastic that pops out, it stops the system. Now with the T10, that was completely removed and not necessarily phased out. Hopefully KWA will bring it back once people feel well enough to actually read the instructions, because it does say in the instructions it has that. So other than that, those are the external parts for it. Now what has it changed in the inside? Now this T10 does come with the new V3 gearbox, and the only things that I could figure out is the fact that it's a lot more user friendly. So a lot of the changes in the parts and adding third party customization to the gearbox itself, it's a lot more friendly. Now I'm not sure about the T6 because I've never owned a T6, but when it comes into this, if I for instance have a Titan or a Gate Titan, it is just a simple opening the gearbox, dropping in, doing its little changes without really doing any sort of manual labor or work on the gearbox, such as for instance if I try to drop in a Gate Titan into a Crytek gearbox, then I have to actually remove certain pieces or material off of the gearbox in order for it to fit. With this gearbox, all you do is drop in, you know, if you have to add the stickers for the selector switch and all that, then you do that. But for the main part of this gearbox, it's a lot more user friendly. You don't get very technical with it. So at least with that is, you know, the plus for that. The other thing that I believe, and I believe it is the most important thing, is the kinetic feedback system that the T10 comes with. What do I mean by the kinetic feedback system, for those of you who don't know? So that is just a system in which replicates recoil, not to its full, you know, force or full potential, in which as a, you know, 1-to-1 compared to a real rifle, but it does give a certain level of feedback. So you'll feel something, for those of you who have never actually shot a real rifle. You'll feel a little bit of push when you're shouldering the rifle and you're shooting it. For me personally, I don't feel it, but again, I have more experience with firearms than actual airsoft rifles, so I don't really feel it, but I still believe it's a good training tool or a good use and adding to it, and that only reinforces KWA's idea of realism, and not necessarily realism just for, you know, milsim players, you know, but it also reinforces realism towards their other market, which is law enforcement, military, and, you know, weapons training individuals. So in of itself, kinetic feedback system, that is super great. I hope they continue it in their next version of rifles, not only the Ronin but any other series of rifles. The other thing is that the wiring in the actual T10 is a lot more thicker, a lot more rough. Unfortunately, let me show you. Unfortunately, while the wiring is a lot much more thicker and a lot better, you know, it's sort of a more like in a coil pigtail kind of way, so that way you don't have, you know, wires flying out. It is still using the Tamiya connectors, and that's a minus for me, unfortunately, because you know, it's the 2020. You know, let's get with Deans, right? And eventually down the road, I'll change it to Deans, because my Gate Titan is a Deans connector. So other than that, that is for the internals for the most part. There's really not much of a change, neither with the motor as far as I know. Now, what aside from, you know, going over the exterior and going from the internals, how well does it perform? You know, in my opinion, it performs very well out of the box. It usually it chronos into between 380 and 400 and some chunk change. 406 is what I noticed, FPS. So out of the box, it shoots pretty well. Especially if you have a good battery connected to it. Now, I've been using this rifle with a 11.1 volt LiPo Titan battery, so the best in the market, to try to use it at its full potential. Now, what are the downsides that I noticed with this rifle? One of the downsides that I noticed is that while, you know, KWA does make mostly, you know, mid-cap magazines, this rifle doesn't play very well with high-cap magazines. It does not at all whatsoever, because what I've noticed with the high-cap magazines that I usually use in my Crytek rifle is that it jams the system. And by jamming, I'm not sure if an actual BB jams, or if, you know, there is an issue with the actual wiring that somehow causes it to just stop. So there's a sudden stop in the system, and I've only noticed that happen only with high cap magazines. So unfortunately with that, that's the only downside. If you like running high caps, you'll probably might encounter that. It might just be my rifle that came out of the box like that, who knows. That's the only thing that I noticed. So I did went ahead and got the K120s magazines from KWA. The only difference is it doesn't have the guiding rod, and the only other thing that I noticed using the K120s, if you have K120s, is that the last 4 BBs don't seem to feed in, so you lose those 4 BBs. It's not a big deal for me. I have a lot of magazines, and usually the rig that I carry carries more than just a couple M4 mags. So other than that, I haven't noticed any downside. We'll see later down the road once I start seeing that, you know, that wear and tear happening. We'll see how well it does. I might make a video on, you know, on how well it did along the way. But out of the box, I don't even want to touch this rifle internally at all, even after the warranty has been, you know, the 90 days warranty has passed. I don't even want to put in the gate tighten into it, to be honest, because again, that rifle does shoot well. And as a matter of fact, I am going to plan on doing a accuracy and grouping test of the actual rifle to see how well it performs and how well it can shoot further down the road pretty soon. But other than that, KWA T10 rifle from the Ronin series, I'm gonna have to give it a solid 9 out of 10, and it's only because of that high cap magazine issue that I encounter, which hopefully is just me, and the Tamiya connectors. Again, but other than that, it might be hitting the range of 9.5, to be honest with you. Not a perfect score, but it's a pretty good score. Other than that, guys, that's pretty much it for the KWA T10. Let me know if I missed anything, guys, or if you have any questions, just comment down below. And don't forget to hit like. It does help me out, and it does inspire me to try to push more content out, as well as subscribe so that you can have the latest content out there. Other than that, guys, thank you and have a good day.